Oops.
We starting with an oops. Hello, everybody, and welcome to I guess start with an oops. It's episode 13, lucky 13 of Watch What Now. It is the podcast where we talk the good, bad, and whatever else we can scrounge up. It is also my wonderful co-host journey into the horror genre. And speaking of her, I am Eric from Hey Internet Eric here, and with me is my wonderful co-host and someone I consider a good friend. She's an AVN Hall of Famer, former radio show host, and probably the reason why we just hit 100 downloads and listens on Spotify. Miss Melissa Hill, how are you tonight, Melissa?
Hello, hi. I'm the reason, probably because I don't do promotion. We should have more.
Hey,
But
you know what? I get what I pay. I get what I pay for with you, so I'll take whatever I can get. So
and we have so many options to listen. I was thinking it's difficult to get a high number on any one platform because there's so many, like I said, so many options.
it's weird. YouTube is a weird thing. You can Anthony and Ginger Ninja, they're in the chat.
Hi.
It's hard to get people to come in sometimes. Teddy understands,
That's
but it's
Panda.
weird that we just got. Oh, jeez.
Oh, I see. They're see the room that I'm sitting in still is
Mm-hmm.
like just a wide open room, nothing but
Mm-hmm.
potty pee pads on the floor and stuff. Um, and since I'm in here,
Mm-hmm.
they're in here, and Panda is apparently dictating to Teddy where he can and cannot sniff. I don't know.
He's dictating to the blind dog where he can and can't sniff. That's great.
Right. Oh yeah, she takes her job seriously, a little too far sometimes. I think some never mind. I was going to say she's the Christy Nome of dogs, but that's bad. So, I'm not going to say
All right.
that.
You know what? Well,
meaning that she's just a little, got too much attitude.
yeah,
So,
she probably gets it from her mom. Um, I love you.
uh,
Anyways, what I was saying is I want to give a shout out and thanks to everybody that 100 downloads and listens on Spotify. It Social media is a weird thing. Sometimes we get good numbers here on YouTube, and then we break 100 listens. And found it weird 100 listens and streams on Spotify, but everyone.
that's awesome though. Like I
eh,
never thought I'd be on Spotify. Go ahead.
but it's also weird that most of people listen to us on Apple Podcasts. So go fucking figure. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, that's what because I'm on my app. It says that I'll pull it up right now. Since this is just like the little witty banter part of the show. Um, it's this app is kind of neat. It shows the age range that people listen to, where they're from.
Mhm.
Our audience is mainly, well, yeah, it's 50-50 male and female. It says the ages are from like 35 to 60. Go figure.
Sounds about right.
Yep. And 85% people are from the United States that listen to us, and 1% in Germany. Go figure.
Huh.
So,
Okay. Nothing in like Sweden or anything?
let's see here. 85% United States, 9% Canada, 2% Australia. That's probably Ginger Ninja in the chat. And 1% in Russia and Germany.
Russia. Ooh,
Yeah.
I wonder who that could be.
I don't know.
Ooh.
That's really weird.
I mean, because I did back in my long ago far away days.
Mm-hmm.
I was friends with some Russian figure skaters. Well, two of them two of them sadly perished in that plane crash, but
Mm-hmm.
one is still alive, and his little protege won the gold medal in the Olympics for male figure skating. Anyway,
Very cool. This year?
anyway, yeah, this year. Yep,
Very cool.
he represented Kazakhstan. He was the only only athlete from Kazakhstan, I think, and his coach was my friend from a long time ago. Uh,
That's
Platonic
neat.
friend. My friend
That's
dated him. Anyway, I don't know why I needed to throw that out there, but he's
Hey,
not a
you know what?
friend.
What is it? What is it we always say when we promote the show? We're going to talk a movie, and then we're going to whatever random BS that pops into our head.
Right.
That's what keeps people coming back. Is what are we actually going to talk about?
Okay, so here's some random, kind of not random. I didn't elaborate too much the other night when I texted you.
Okay.
Was it last night?
Last night is when we were talking. I'll say we were talking about Shelley last night and
Oh.
the movies. That's what we were talking about for the most part.
Well, okay. So I had a horror film experience.
That's right. Yes, that's what led into it.
Right. So, and I guess I didn't realize how late it was because I had already, I don't know, whatever. I had already set the clock ahead just, so that it would
Hmm.
be ready when I woke up. But anyway, so, yeah. So, those of you who don't know, so I live in Vermont and I just moved to a more rural, like Vermont is already rural, and I have really difficult times saying the word rural.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Vermont is already rural,
Hmm.
but there's rural communities
Yeah.
within the rural state of Vermont.
It's like Pee Wee's Playhouse. That's the word of the day. Jeez.
What, cheese? No, just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, so I live like kind of on a highway. You know those streets that have like one or two stop signs and stoplights, and then you have long stretches of road where you can
It's
go,
nothing.
yeah, where you can go 50 miles per hour and
Hmm.
there's not that much. Well, that's where I live. So I
Okay.
live I live on one of those roads, so where there's not a whole lot except a bunch of like semi trucks barreling through in the middle of the night type thing.
Hmm.
So um, I was watching something stupid on TV last night. Canada Shore, which is it's like Jersey Shore but takes place in Canada.
I didn't know there was a thing.
Oh
Good
yeah,
lord.
it's new this season. Anyway, so this is my guilty pleasure, Canada Shore, and those people like it's like, wow, was I like that when I was 25? Probably not, but anyway. So so I get up to every once in a while because I live in such an old house. I just like to turn off the lights and stand out the window and look out the window as if I were someone from 213 years ago. Like,
Hmm.
what is it that they would see? Because there's no lights or anything, but when it's a full moon, you can really, especially when there's snow on the ground. So anyway, so I get up and I glance out the window and I notice that there's someone parked in front of what I think is in front of my house with their
Hmm.
hazard lights on, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Hmm.
who the hell is out in front of my house? You know?
Right.
So like I don't have any blinds or anything because there's no foot traffic. Like, it's
Yeah.
just window.
Right.
So I'm like hiding behind the wall and kind of, trying to. These are blinds that don't exist. There's no blinds on the windows, so I don't know why I'm doing that. Anyway, so
Good
I'm
lord.
looking out the window and I'm just like, okay, this is kind of creepy. Like, why is there just someone sitting? It's too late for the mail
Yeah.
because rural mail delivery is, they have their flashing lights on, kind of.
Hmm.
So I was so I thought, well, maybe I should do the Vermont thing and go out and see if they need assistance. And I'm on the phone with Tony Montana from adult film fame,
Hmm.
Tony Montana. So I'm on the phone with Tony Montana. We're talking about this thing that's coming up in Chicago. And and he's like yelling at me, "What are you doing?" Because so I go out and I look to see, okay, and just as I step outside, a pickup truck comes by and
Okay.
slows down and stops in front of them. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, cool, they're taken care of. I don't need to worry about what's going on. They got it under control. Anyway, about like an hour later or something, my dogs start going crazy
Hmm.
and letting me know there's someone at the door because I don't have a doorbell or anything. So I get and I look, and it's a guy standing on the porch, and he's got like a wrench or something in his hand. And that's when Tony Montana was like, "What are you doing? Don't step outside." So the dogs are barking crazy. So I actually step outside and shut the door behind me so that like the dogs aren't interfering.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so basically he's like, "Hey, we notice you have an asphalt driveway. Is it okay if we pull into your driveway to so that our jack has something to resistance
Mm-hmm.
because they kept trying to jack up the car and it was sinking into the mud
Yeah.
that was across the street." So I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. My dogs though were like, no,
Yeah.
no, we're not liking this situation, especially Teddy because he can't see,
Mm-hmm.
but he can hear really well.
Yeah.
And so he kept barking at me, like every 30 seconds, just like one bark, letting me know there's people outside our house,
Yeah. They're
and
still
I
out
could
there.
hear the talking and stuff. Anyway, long story short, with all the messaging, so I hang up for my friend, but now he's texting me and he's telling me, you're a single woman, you're out in the middle of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
and he's asking me, how far is your neighbor? If you were to scream, would they be able to hear you? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's a good question. Plus, I don't know them yet. Like, I
All
haven't
right.
met my neighbors yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started getting like really kind of freaked out. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
there's these fucking people in my driveway. And they were like such a random group of people, too. So anyway, so eventually, and it's approaching midnight
Yeah.
now. And so I go outside to say, hey, why don't you guys just like come back in the morning when it's daylight? Because I was just feeling really nervous because I'm like, they could be out there planning my demise for
Yeah.
like, like you take the left side, we'll take the right side, and so I'm
They
just
are. They
like,
already did the math. This how far you are from your neighbor in case you can scream type of
right,
thing.
and
Yeah.
how long it takes me to get to the front door,
Yeah.
how many doors there are in the house, and there's a lot of doors, so I'm
Yeah.
like going around and locking all the doors, and some of the doors were just installed, so the new key was
Mm-hmm.
still in the lock because I don't have a place to put them yet because whoever shows up here, nobody.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I take the key out of the new door handle. It's just
Mm-hmm.
hanging there, and I lock the door and all this other stuff. But I got really scared. I was
Yeah.
really
I don't blame
scared
you.
for a minute there, and I was like, God damn you, Eric, and your stupid horror movies. That's my story.
Wow. Well, on that happy note, you're welcome. Well, you know what? It's kind of perfect timing considering that today the movie we are discussing is from 2011, and it is thanks to Barb from Fear the Talking Heads. We've said this before. We do show favoritism if you try to help spread the word about our little show. We are discussing 2011's Cabin in the Woods, and just after hearing that story, it was the perfect little segue. So thank you to those creepy guys that needed to change their tire in
Oh
Melissa's
no,
driveway.
it was two guys and a lady. So that was the thing. Like he kept saying, "This is my wife," and I'm like, "She's the distraction." Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah, blink, yeah,
And
blink.
they're all in their knit caps with their tools and stuff, and I'm like, what was I thinking?
You look at her, blink twice if you're really his wife, type of thing. Good lord.
So someone said, "Have Cheeto will follow." Says I'm in
Eh,
full grunge mode. Some call it grunge. Some call it rural Vermont.
rural.
Rural Vermont. So, but I'm coming out of the knit caps and I'm, segueing into baseball caps. So this is
Yeah.
my newest baseball cap. I don't know if you can read it, but it says something about Vermont being established in whatever year, 17 something or other.
Look at that. See, bringing history and education here to watch what now. That's what we do for you guys for free. This was like a
1791.
1791. Good lord.
Okay.
I'm not even
All
going
right.
to do the math on that one.
Long time.
Yeah. That's what I tell my daughter. I just say get a calculator. I can't do math. Uh, this like we said this was a request of Barb from Fear the Talking Heads. If you share us, if you're a regular in the chat, if you give us good reviews on the audio platforms, we will show you favoritism. unless you're a close friend like Shelley, and that is going to explain the next episode, but we'll get to that at the end. We will gladly pick a movie for that you want us to discuss, and we landed on Cabin in the Woods, which is honestly, I'll show my cards a little bit. A movie that I've only seen a couple times, and I really, really enjoyed it because it plays on a lot of the tropes in the horror genre and the tropes that you're starting to get used to, Melissa. For first, before we like get into like what actually happens in the film, your first initial thoughts of this one, because it starts completely different than what you would expect from a horror movie. What were your initial thoughts going into this one?
Um, well, let's see. I took 7 pages of notes.
Oh, good God.
My most notes
Yeah.
taken. My initial, let's see, what did I remember, well, as usual, there's always the what the fuck is happening? So original, okay, opening scene, girl dancing in underwear. Shocking.
Yeah.
I've come to realize like every horror film starts with a girl wearing nothing, like wearing underwear.
Yeah.
So she was wearing a t-shirt, but she also had on
She-
underwear next to an open window. So I'm like,
Yeah. And she's the air quote, she's the virgin character, but she's the one showing a lot of the stuff in broad daylight in front of the window. Yeah.
true. Yeah. Well, I guess, the actresses had to be, well, because the blonde does her little, dancing and all that other stuff. So I
Mhm.
figured, they switched up. One was like, okay, I'll do the underwear. You can do the dirty dancing. Okay. um, so my initial reaction was, okay, this is going to be fun.
Okay.
Bunch of Chris Hemsworth, whose name like I just had to learn how to pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
I was I was like, this doesn't seem like your typical cabin in the woods movie because well, it's more current.
Yeah.
And got a lot of good looking people in it.
Mm-hmm.
So the other actor I recognized from TV.
Okay.
Who was that? That was Holden, the
Okay.
Holden character. Um. So yeah, so it starts off with the girls in the uh, apartment dancing, and then the
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend comes in and all that other stuff. But upon reading it, it says, the synopsis of the movie: 2 unseen scientists manipulate the gory goings on at a remote cabin inhabited by a group of unsuspecting college co-eds, is what
Mm-hmm.
I wrote. So I was like, okay, where do the scientists come in? Anyway, so yeah, so initially I thought this was going to be kind of fun because you got, good looking co-ed, the girl dancing in underwear, and a guy catching a football, and then they drive off in a Winnebago and go to the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I started questioning things is when they pulled away
Mm-hmm.
and you see a guy sitting on the rooftop.
Yeah.
Hi.
That's the wife. She's doing
Hi.
laundry.
Hi, the wife. So you see a guy sitting on sitting on the rooftop, and I was like, so no one notices this dude sitting on
Exactly.
the rooftop in bright daylight. It wasn't like he was crouching down. So that's when I was like, okay, whatever.
Yep.
Okay, your turn.
Yep. And that's where we get to the goofy scientists, Gary and Steve, who I think are a lot of fun in this. And that's what I
Oh yeah.
really enjoy about this movie, is because it is more a horror comedy than a straight up horror. And I liked how it played on the tropes. Gary and Steve work in this underground office building bunker thing, I guess. And I guess the actual plot itself is still kind of confusing for me, but basically they are hired and they are part of this big group that takes all the tropes. You have the virgin, you have the fool, which is, the stoner character, the jock, the whore, even though the blonde wasn't really a whore. You know what I mean? She had a boyfriend and wasn't cheating on him. You had the scholar, and because those are tropes, those are all character tropes from horror movies, and then they put them in the cabin in the woods, and then they cause mayhem to happen, and it has to happen a certain way to appease these ancient gods, which we'll get into. But
and then, um, yeah. So it was sort of like, okay, which one's going to die first?
mhm,
Because each of the college co-eds represented someone that people generally think is the person who's going to get killed first. You
right,
had African American, like African American people always think the black person gets killed first.
right. That really was a trope from the 80s and 90s. Very rare did you see a black person come out of a horror movie. And it ended up becoming a joke, like from the Wayans brothers and stuff like that. But yeah, it was surprising to we'll get to it to see how long he lasted. To be honest.
Right. And then well, then the virgin, oh, she's the virgin, she's the one that's going to survive,
Hmm.
you think.
Yeah.
And but like, so they cut to, now I love Bradley Whitford. Is that how you
Yes.
say?
Yeah.
I love him from West Wing.
Hmm.
I know him, I don't know him, but like his acting is always quick and witty.
Yeah.
He played Mr. Hadley. That's how I have him written down.
Hmm.
So when they cut from the kids driving off in the Winnebago, and the guy in the thing on the rooftop that no
Hmm.
one sees in the middle of the day, um, and then they go to this, like, I call it a campus of some sort, underground bunker type thing.
Hmm.
So and so my thinking is always like, now who the hell built this?
That's why too, because John's in the chat. John, a good friend of mine, he actually says it's very difficult to mix comedy and horror, but this movie did it well.
Yeah.
If John's kind of newer to this podcast, that's why I love having Melissa on this show, because she thinks about stuff like that. She's like, me personally, don't always think about who the hell built this, how long did it take, how much fucking money was spent, and then bringing
Right.
her in. That's what in a movie where someone's being watched, and we know something's not on the up and up because we have the spy on the rooftop. She brings in the who the hell built all this type of thought. So that's what I really enjoy about having you on.
Well, as we mentioned a couple of podcasts ago, I've not been really successful at suspending my disbelief. even
That's
though even though I kind of sort of was in the movie industry,
mm-hmm.
I I can't suspend my disbelief. Like, someone built this. Like, like how they advertise for employees.
That's true.
I was like, okay, they're all
Yeah,
scientists.
that's not something they put in the fucking local paper.
Right, the classified ads.
Yeah,
So I guess they hire through the same agency that Stranger Things hires through.
I guess.
Like underground freaking things. Anyway, okay. So yeah, I agree that it's a good mix of comedy and horror.
Hmm.
Because Bradley Whitford was in it, I knew
Yeah.
there was going to be some funny. So yeah, yeah, what I write, Bradley Whitfield as Mr. Hadley works at a yet to be identified underground scientific compound. Was
Hmm.
the note that I wrote. Okay, so then my next note was in quotes, shocking that the RVers arrive at a backwoods, dilapidated gas station.
Yes.
The sign clearly says closed, but yet they walk in and say, "Hello, is anyone here? Are you open?" Or whatever it was that they were.
Yeah. And they meet up with the grumpiest. I mean, you'd be grumpy too if you were closed and you had a bunch of kids in their 30s in their RV, wanting to fill them up type of thing.
Uh-huh.
But he was that trope. Every horror movie has to have that harbinger of doom. You know what I mean? That place has got a death curse type character. And
Yeah.
what I really like about this movie is these characters. I'm not specifically talking about the gas station attendant. He was grumpy because he had a reason. Is these characters are actually very likable. I really
Yeah.
liked how the gas station attendant was insulting. I think he actually called Chris Hemsworth girlfriend a whore or a slut or something like that, and Hemsworth
Yeah.
stood up for her. You know what I mean? See, they agree.
I don't even know what's happening.
Hemsworth stood up for her, and he pumped the gas, and he crumbles up the money, and just throws it at the guy. So these are likable characters, which you need. Like I always say this when it comes to horror movies, you need to like the people you're following for 90 minutes, because otherwise you'd want to turn the channel. So I thought
Right.
this was really, really good casting, in my opinion.
Right. I agree. I agree on that. I was okay. What was my? I don't have my. I got to put my glasses on so I can read my notes.
It's okay.
Ah, here it says.
Much better.
Warned that they won't have enough gas to return, but they go anyway.
Yep.
And then I wrote, wait, what? A falcon, it was a falcon, enters the scene, then flies into an invisible matrix. That's when I was like, what?
That's what I was waiting. That was what I was waiting for the text for you. We have this nice little setup, because they're in their little they're in their little Winnebago, and they go through a tunnel, and the tunnel is obviously the cutoff point, because that comes into effect later. That's where they're going into this. Literally, it's like you said, it's the Matrix, or there's just this weird grid that cuts them off from the outside world. Nothing can get in or out aside from that tunnel, because it's literally is, like you said, a falcon just flying through, and then suddenly, boom, it hits this invisible wall and falls down the cavern.
Yeah.
So again, it's really good setup. We still don't know who Bradley Whitford and his buddy are. We don't know what their purpose is. We don't know where these people are going. So it's really good at like especially someone like you who just wants to know what the hell is going on. They do a really good job of building it up.
Right. All right. Yeah, I am a bad person to go to a movie theater with, because I'm always I'm always asking for explanations. I'm always talking to the screen, and Shelly hates going to the movie with me. What? Okay, I understand. Thank you. She's letting me know that Athena, because I'm dog sitting also. Athena, she likes to bark at. Oh, thank you. All right, so they arrive at the broke down cabin, and I wrote rake the leaves and it'll look good as new.
Yeah, that's all it needs, just a little splash of paint.
Right, and so Chris Hemsworth is the okay. So Chris Hemsworth is the one that puts this whole trip together, kind of based on the fact that he has a family member, he claims, that just bought this cabin. So when they arrive at this cabin, I'm like, that doesn't look just bought. Didn't someone clean it up before they
bought it sight unseen? That's what happens when you're on Etsy or one of those sites. That's what it was.
Craigslist.
Craigslist. That's the one I'm thinking about. Fucking Etsy, you at least get pictures. Yeah.
Right. So, and then let's see, I forget it, because it jumps between the kids,
Yeah.
going to this cabin, and then what's happening at the scientific compound. So I can't recall if at this point. Well, let's see.
What I have is, they're getting the kids. They're getting set up in the cabin. There's something up with the cabin, more so because there's that scene with Holden and Dana. Dana's getting undressed in her room,
Right.
And Holden can see that because he's taken down this evil demonic picture of goats being sacrificed or something like that, and he sees that it's a one-way mirror, that he can see her but she can't see him, type of thing. So again, he gets his quick looks, but he does the right thing, and he tells her, let's switch rooms, type of thing. So again, these are good people. Right. And that's what's going to suck, because when they're put through hell, you're really going to hate that, because you were following these people and really liking them being on the screen.
Right. Okay. So so after that happens, and the roommates, let's just call them the roommates.
Yeah, that's fine.
The roommates discover this mirror. I don't know if it's called the two-way mirror. I went to the Mob Museum in Las Vegas, and they said technically it's not a two-way mirror. It's a one-way mirror.
Yeah.
I don't know. I forget what it said, but they have another term for it. So two-way mirror. And then we get a call from Mordecai, creepy dude from the gas station.
Yep.
So a creepy guy from gas station calls into the lab with some creepy words and comedy relief. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, I think it's just another scene where where the Gary and Steve are the scientists or the coworkers, whatever, and they're it's just another scene where I think Bradley Whitford can just throw out some really funny quips, and
Right.
it's a good scene too because now Gary and Steve realize that since rooms have changed, two people have changed rooms, they got to change the scenario, and we're still wondering what the hell the scenario is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And
this is all planned out specifically. This person has to specifically have this room. This person has to have this room. Yada yada yada. And again, it piques my interest on where this is all going, and then how it's going to pan out, and like what do they have to actually switch? Why is it important that Dana is specifically in this room and Holden is specifically in that room? So again, I think it's whoever wrote this is really really freaking smart in my opinion.
right. I can't remember if they've already at okay, so jumping back to the beginning of the movie,
Sure.
the what's her name? Uh Jules.
Okay.
Jules mentions pretty much right away, how do you like my dye job? I went blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And which I thought was really kind of weird because like on TV or on soap operas, sure they'd mention that because an actor shows up one day and suddenly has different color hair. But at the very beginning of a movie, I thought it was strange because we never saw her as anything else other than blonde. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, why'd they throw that in? So I at some point they ah okay, this is what I wrote. Scientists are somehow monitoring everything the co-eds do and start taking bets on what
Yes.
happens in the cellar. So that's I think around the time that they mention we got a blonde, we got the virgin, I mean they didn't I don't think they verbally said we have an African American, we've got a jock, but I think it was implied,
Right.
obviously because we're seeing it on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then they apparently were the ones who controlled Jules into thinking that she needed to go blonde. So that's when I was like, well, how the fuck they do that?
It's just I know, and but again, it's the trope. If she's got to be, again, I hate I don't like how they call her the whore because again, she's not really trying to bang the other guys. She seems very faithful to Chris Hemsworth, but
Lustful. I think they
yeah,
said lustful, right?
okay, yeah, but that's because it's just a stereotypical blonde trope. You know what I mean? For in horror movies, it's always the blonde that has to get naked. It's always the blonde that's after the guy type of thing. But
Right.
I'll show you right here. This was my favorite. This was my favorite scene is when they're taking bets because again, it's just a lot of fun. It's completely different, and oh man, I loved how people were really getting into it. It's like Wall Street to me, or they're betting on a football pool at work,
Yeah.
and I love how what was it? Someone was trying to make a bet and they wanted to bet something, but they were pissed because that's all maintenance bets on type of thing.
All right.
And
So he was going to have to split the winnings if he were to win.
exactly, and Bradley Whitford was pissed off that because it ended up being redneck zombie torture family, and someone was pissed because they picked zombies, but Bradley Whitford's buddy here, he says yes, but you didn't specifically say zombie redneck torture family. So that just shows the different scenarios. Like this is like if you watch this, like when you watch this, whether it's Blu-ray or streaming, this is a movie you kind of want to pause and see just the little details, like the betting board behind this guy here. It's a lot of fun. And then there's that little the little quip from Bradley Whitford. He's like, "Damn, I'll never get to see a merman."
Right.
And that line sticks out, so something's going to happen. So that's my favorite scene is them taking bets. And they also say that they give you a little bit more rules that, the victims, this is all free will. They call them the victim. This is all free will what they do. We just kind of nudge them in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Right.
So again, it's the creativity in this movie really, really gets to me. I really like it a lot.
Right. It was very intelligent. We forgot to mention they keep referring to Sweden and Japan,
Yes.
and
Thank you for that. I forgot about that.
and apparently Sweden pulled out of whatever it is, but
Hmm.
they occasionally show clips of what's happening in Japan.
Hmm.
I don't know if they've done it yet in the movie here, but
It's getting close because they're talking about how basically it's between, it's all up to America and Japan to get this done, and we don't know what it is that they have to get done. And I think we've just briefly seen like a spirit that's attacking a bunch of little schoolgirls, like in an elementary school in
right.
Japan, and they're trying to fight the spirit.
um, and they also refer to the other people
Hmm.
in this compound as just it's coming from downstairs or it's coming from upstairs, and
Hmm.
you don't really know what that means. But whenever something happens, it seems like, well, I guess we'll get to that later. All right. So now we are in the cabin, and as in every horror movie that takes place in a cabin, they have to play truth or
Truth or
dare.
dare, yeah. And it's again, it's these are likable characters, and you have Jules is getting drunk, and she is, I think, she's dared to make out with Dana, but instead she decides to make out with the stuffed wolf that's
Yeah.
hanging on the wall.
Yeah. And we have forgot to mention, so we got five people, five co-heads. There's the stoner,
Hmm.
which they call the fool.
Yep.
There's the virgin, which
Yep.
is Dana,
Yep.
redhead. There's Jules, which is the whore,
Yeah.
blonde. Um, there's the scholar, which is the African American guy, and
Hmm.
then there's the jock, which is Chris Hemsworth.
Yep.
Hemsworth. um, so of course, truth or dare with odd number of people. Panda, stop
Hey, it worked.
it. with with an odd number of people, is going
Hmm.
to take a bad turn at some point.
Yeah. And
Um,
then, yeah.
yeah, go ahead, because
Oh, I was
someone's
gonna
going to
say,
get uncomfortable, or
yeah, I want to give a shout out. She's just showed up. Barb, love this movie. Hope you did too, Melissa. Sorry I'm late. She's stuck down with the plague. Yeah, her and I were going to get together last night and we had to postpone it. It's her week to be sick this time when it comes to people with me. I was sick last week. But again, thank you for the support, Barb, and giving us the idea for this week's episode. Hope you feel better.
yes, hope you feel better, especially if it's the plague. Ugh.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think the next thing is Dana is dared to go downstairs into the creepy basement. And that's when I wrote that this is where they go down. They see all these weird trinkets. There's one that's like a little ball. There is the music
well,
box with the ballerina.
well, wait a second. First off,
Okay.
the cellar door just spontaneously flies open,
That's right. That's right.
and it's in the floor, so it's
Yeah.
not like a wind came and went
Yeah.
poof.
Yeah. Something literally just like someone in the office pushed the button and went right
Yeah,
up in the air.
right. Uh, wait a second.
Get your glasses on. There you
All
go.
right. Okay. So, all right. So the cellar door flies open. Okay. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
My note is right now. I'm thinking that Chris Hemsworth. I wrote Hemingsworth. Stop. Chris Hemsworth is in on it by putting suggestions in their heads.
Oh, okay.
So that's my thinking, because apparently it is his relative's cabin, and
True.
he is the one who put the trip together. So like I said, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, at this point, whatever it is that's happening, he's in on it.
Hmm. I never even thought of that. Good for you. Never even
Oh,
thought of that. Let's
okay.
see.
So yeah. So then Dana gets dared to walk
Hmm.
down into the cellar. She discovers a labyrinth of odd antique dolls, photos, and other old items.
Yeah, there is like I said, there's like a little ball that's like a puzzle. That's a reference to something you found out about last night called Hellraiser from good old Shelley. There is a music box with a little ballerina spinning around, which we find out where that goes to later. We do meet the ballerina later. And then we have, of course, the stereotypical book. And this was about the part where I got a text message from you, and it was something like, don't read the fucking Latin. And that's what happens. They read the fucking Latin.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now who said? Oh, that's right. The fool, the stoner.
Yes.
And I always trust the stoner because they have they can see other things that we can't. Like in my experience, when I did drugs, I
Hmm.
really thought that like I was tapping into a whole other like dimension.
Yeah.
Well, we won't go into that. So,
There is something sprinkled out with the stoner. What's the stoner's name? Marty. And
yeah.
a lots of times he's hearing voices, like kind of coercing him to do something. You hear like a woman's voice and only he can hear it, type of thing. So they're somewhat being influenced. They can't hear it, but I think it's because he's always fucking high. He can hear it. There's something to do with like the type of weed he's smoking. They say it later on that's helping him realize that this isn't what it seems, type of thing.
Well, yeah, true. So when there cut to another scene later on in the movie when Marty, the stoner fool,
Mm-hmm.
is like, I resist you. I am not going to follow. And then yet he does,
Yeah,
because they're like, take a walk outside. I'm going to take a walk outside,
yeah.
and I was like, oh man,
I know.
because,
That's why I said we like these characters so much. That's what I love about this film. And
um,
let's see here.
Dana, all right. Yeah. So Dana reads the diary. Jesus Lord.
There you go. Get your glasses.
Dana reads the diary out loud, like you had already said, ignoring the many pleas of the stoner, asking her not to.
Yep.
And then okay, so after she reads the Latin out loud, we see. Okay, so she's reading a diary, and
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I'll call it a frontier family.
Yeah.
So
Basically,
yeah, like
very rural. A
very rural,
rural family.
rural frontier family, not like the Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie, because these people were creepy. Um, she, something about like, was it her dad? So the person whose diary they're reading, the girl who's written the diary writes something about her dad, I think, like
Yeah.
splitting open the fire in the abdomen or something, and it was all against anything lustful or whatever, and he chopped off her arm.
Yeah, that was a major thing because what happens is it is basically dad went crazy and he murdered his whole family, type of thing, and you specifically we specifically hear the passage in the diary being read that the little girl who wrote it, her dad cut off her arm. That brings the zombie redneck torture family, that specific family, from that fun scene. They come out of the ground, and you do see there's four of them, I think, husband and wife, an older sibling, and then you see a very young girl with just one arm. So it is the family of the lady, the little girl that wrote the diary,
Well,
come out of the ground.
I guess they're supposed to make us assume it's a young girl, although she looked older because she had braids in her hair.
Well, hey,
Not unlike Laura Ingalls from Little
but
House
hey,
on
you
the
know
Prairie.
what? Chris Hemsworth, it looks like he's supposedly probably playing like an early college student. He looks like he's 35 here. So, it's that same trope.
It's what I like. They hire actors to portray younger people instead of hiring the younger people to play underage.
Yeah.
You know, well, anyway, that's a whole other genre.
That's a whole
All
nother
right.
story. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So now we cut to the scientists. They're celebrating
Hmm.
who won the betting pool over the Buckner family
Hmm.
emerging from the ground. So,
And
oh,
I think it was maintenance that won that running joke that is always maintenance. They won the pool.
and so at this point, Jules is getting a little risque with her dancing,
Hmm.
and the jock Chris Hemsworth is getting a little drunk. So, she starts dirty dancing. The everyone. So, so he yanks her outside to like let's get down to business outside.
Hmm.
Um, and then that's when the scientists start manipulating the air
Yep.
outside so that Jules and the boyfriend start taking off their clothes.
Yeah, they raise the temperature of the woods. They literally pump out pheromones, to get them more and more horny. And so, what are you thinking so far, Melissa? Like with this manipulation, where this is going to go? Are you completely just along for the ride? You have no idea where this is going to go, type of thing, because you see how this is all planned out by the people in the office. I guess we'll say the office workers.
Well, I when the when the zombie family came out of the ground, um, I was just like, so how did the office people know that these people were just laying there under the ground waiting to be reanimated? Like, how did they know this? Um, and zombies move slow enough, unless
Mm-hmm.
it's World War Z.
Yeah.
Um, Zombies move slow enough that I thought, okay, I thought okay, so they're
Yes.
making out.
Mm-hmm.
Jules is on the ground. You see her hand reach, out of ecstasy or whatever, reach
Mm-hmm.
for the ground, because now suddenly it's hot.
Yeah.
And now their clothes are off, and she reaches the ground. Let's demonstrate.
Mm-hmm.
And she grabs the earth, and I thought a zombie hand was going to come along and touch her hand, and she was going
Mm-hmm.
to freak out, and they were going to run inside, and then it was going to be all 5 of them against these zombies. But no, that's not
There we
what
go.
happened. You see a zombie hand come into frame, but with a knife, and it stabs her. And
Yep.
I wrote, oh Jesus! I just hit the table, so they think someone's knocking at the door. So I wrote, Jules gets her hand stabbed by a zombie. I did not expect that!
Yep.
Exclamation mark. And then I
Yep.
wrote, oh dear Lord.
Yep. The oh dear Lord part is now Jules is stabbed in the hand. Kurt, that's Chris Hemsworth, he gets stabbed in the shoulder. And then we see Papa Ingalls, I guess we'll call him. He's got a bear trap that he's dragging along. And he uses that, and then he throws it at Jules. And I don't know if it hits her like between the shoulder blades or in the lower back, but she's being dragged on the ground. And then you see this gigantic, like fucking lumberjack tree saw. You know what I mean? Where you got one person has to be on one end and one person on the other. And that's bye bye Jules. You
Yeah.
know?
I wrote, oh dear Lord. Blonde Jules is first to go after being sliced through the abdomen while boyfriend watches.
Yep.
And then, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. Because we then cut to Steve. I don't know which one Steve is, Steve or Gary, but one of the office workers, I don't know, I don't think it's Bradley Whitford, pulls down a lever.
Nope, it's
And
Bradley Whitford.
okay.
Because I
So
actually wrote it.
okay. So Bradley Whitford is Steve. He pulls down a lever and we see there's definitely some carvings in a wall, and we see a little bit of blood flowing through, and then that's it. So you get that little bit of taste of what's going on, but you still don't know. But it's definitely bigger than what we've been shown so far, than a bunch of people in an office trying to kill. They're not doing this for
Right.
fun. There's a bigger reason why they're doing this type of thing.
Right. So that was interesting. So yeah, he pulls the lever. You see all these gears turning, and then what looks like ancient drawings. I forget what they're called. There's a name for them. Ancient drawings, like what they have in Nevada. Where
Mm-hmm.
their language is drawings of people and animals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like to me. So I was like, okay, so now there's a history lesson with cave people. I didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understood. So like blood comes down, and I'm like, okay, how are they getting the blood? Like
Mm-hmm.
she just died. So I'm like, okay, so the blood is getting from the earth and going down to the scientist people, because my assumption is that this laboratory is like somewhere else.
You're still trying to figure out who the hell built the laboratory, is what
Yes.
now they throw this at you.
Right. Yes, exactly. I'm trying to figure out who built this laboratory, where the hell is it, and how is the blood getting from the
Whose blood is it? Yeah, exactly.
and it didn't click until later that each time because each time a person gets killed,
Mm-hmm.
they pull this lever and blood goes down, and I didn't even realize right away that it was different images.
Mm-hmm.
like different cave drawings, so to
Yeah.
speak. All
I
right.
want to, before we keep going, I do want to throw this out there for anyone listening. I know pretty much everybody that's in the chat right now has seen the film. We will be spoiling this because there's so much going on towards the end. So if you continue to watch or listen and you haven't seen this, you're doing that at your own risk because there is a lot to talk about when we get to the end of the film that we have to talk about. But it's definitely a movie that you want to go in blind. So this is your warning to know that we will be spoiling the hell out of the rest of the film as well.
All right. So yeah, so he pulls and
Put your
glass.
glasses on.
Mr. Hadley pulls a lever and
Mm-hmm.
gears start churning blood into a dish. Okay. Oh yeah,
There we
that's
go.
right. First it goes into this really beautiful dish that looks sort of like an above ground sink or above, they have those sinks that look like they're bowls sitting on
Yeah.
top of the counter. Anyway, yeah, so it looks like one of those type of sinks, and then it goes from blood into whatever. All right, we already went over that. So now we go Stoner Marty.
Mm-hmm.
Marty keeps hearing voices telling him to go for a walk,
Yep.
and now I forgot. I was watching just for entertainment, and somehow my next note is that he finds a hidden camera in a broken lamp because a lamp fell off the table.
Okay.
And
Yeah. You missed one thing.
okay.
This is where Chris Hemsworth, he returns. The zombies are attacking,
Oh yeah,
and
that's right. That's
he
right.
wants
That's right.
he wants to make sure everyone stays together because we all know the trope: you split up, you die, type of thing.
Uh-huh.
And he wants, and then again, people in the office, they release some gas, and it convinces Chris or Curtis to get everyone to split up. So they all get locked, and they all lock themselves in their rooms. That's where we get to Marty, and Marty breaks a lamp, and he sees that it's bugged. He sees that it's a wire to a camera, so he
Oh, right.
knows something's up. So
Okay.
that's where we're at now. So now we're good.
All right, but before that, I guess when he was going to go outside to go for a walk, when he opens the door, that's Chris Hemsworth coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got blood all over him, and they're like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And dear, where's Jules? She's
Mm-hmm.
gone. Where'd she go? And then, oh wait, and then somehow or another, Dana gets Jules' head
I think it's
blown
just
out
like
of her.
thrown. Yeah, I think it's just thrown through the window or through the open door or something like
Okay,
that.
all right,
Yeah, Papa
from
Ingalls was pissed, so he just wanted, he just threw it at her. I think just for the hell of it.
right, okay. And which I thought was okay, so then she's holding her head,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean there's so much blood in her hair that it's now
Mm-hmm.
brown.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's where they're all freaking out. Marty finds the camera and a broken lamp, more
Mm-hmm.
blood pours in. Oh, okay, I was really jumping ahead in this. I wasn't taking very many notes.
No, you're fine.
So so yeah, so somehow or another, well, no, I think you should take over because now my next note is that he gets killed. He gets killed.
Yeah, well, basically that's what it is. It's just a lot of chaos, and then Marty is outside. I don't know how he gets outside. Not gonna lie, I don't know if he's pulled through the window or if he does take that walk.
Mm-hmm.
And he is pulled off screen, and we hear him scream. So as this is why I gave the spoiler warning. He is, if you don't see a body, it doesn't mean they're dead, type of thing. But then the
Right.
second lever is pulled, and the ground starts to shake.
Right,
So
but
things are
yeah, you see him get pulled into a ditch, but you see like a fountain of blood squirt up.
exactly. So
So you assume that it's him, and when I was watching it, I was like, "Thank you, movie people, for not showing me his gruesome demise."
yeah, yeah, and then you'll
They,
you'll be cussing them out later when they actually get to the complex. That's for sure.
yeah, okay. So, um,
This is where I have Dana and Holden enter the black room torture chamber. So they're downstairs, like in the little, I guess they're in the father's, no other way to say it, torture chamber.
Right. That's what I wrote. That it's full of weapons. Like.
Yeah, full of weapons. Dana actually rescues Holden and she kills the zombie dad. So Papa Ingalls is now taken out of the picture. Um, and then we cut to the underground bunker, and they're really losing their shit because you find out Japan is victorious. The little girls in the school have defeated the evil spirit, and I think they turn her into like a little cute little frog, and they're dancing around, being happy. So basically, now we're getting to learn that okay, this is multinational, everywhere in the world this happens, and now I
It's
guess
up
you'd
to
say
America
it's up to
to.
America to still do what has to be done because we don't know yet.
Right. Okay. To please whatever is downstairs.
Yeah.
All right. So we have the three remaining,
Mm-hmm.
which is Holden,
Yep.
the scholar. What's Chris Hemsworth is Jock, and Dana the Virgin. So the
Yes.
three remaining drive off in the Rambler, and the scientists freak out because they need to create a cave-in because apparently, so they were driving on the same road in which they entered and
Mm-hmm.
arrived at the thing, and they're heading towards the tunnel to leave the Matrix, and apparently there was some sort of maintenance malfunction or
Yeah.
electrical the electrician department or something.
Yes.
Something frizzled out. So yeah, so the scientists have to create a cave in
Mm-hmm.
so that they can't get through the tunnel, or not a
Correct.
cave in, not a cave in yet, wasn't it? Like the
They
earth
they
split
had
open.
they had to do they basically that's what it is. They basically I don't know if they caused the Earth to split in or if it is just a bunch of rock, but there is an explosion and they cannot get to the other side. And that was actually a really cool scene where Bradley Whitford's partner, like he's booking it down the hallway, he's pushing people out of the way. He literally has to get underneath the computer and twist a couple wires, and then finally, boom.
And it kind of reminded me of watching a movie about like a news network or something. Like we've got to go live, and we got this one thing.
We
We
got
got
the
to
story. I gotta tell the reporter
right,
type of it.
and
Yeah,
the satellite is down. We gotta get transmission at some point. Like that's kind of what like you said earlier. It's just your average everyday
yeah.
work
They
environment.
they come in. They use the punch card. They work their 8 to 10 hours. They bring up some zombies or mermen or whoever, and then they go home. Yeah.
Right. Um, all right. So Holden and Dana. Oh, okay. So Kurt
Mm-hmm.
decides he's going to get on his motorcycle, and which apparently they must be towing on the Rambler or something. So he's going to get in his motorcycle and he's going to jump the canyon
Mm-hmm.
so that he can reach help and then bring help back. So and it looks like he's going to be successful, but it's a horror film, so something's going to happen.
Holden has the same fate of that hawk that we saw in the beginning.
Not Holden, Kurt.
Kurt, my
Right,
mistake.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Holden's death is a lot different. I forgot. Yeah.
Right.
Kurt, he's flying through the air just like that hawk, and he
Boom.
looks. Yeah, exactly. He looks like a hero. It's slow motion, then suddenly he hits it, and he just kind of falls, and he's like I don't know if you heard it, but you needed to hear that little. You needed to hear that little squeaky noises. You know what I mean? Like he went down.
Yeah, and his little body's going, and you're thinking it's Chris Hemsworth. He can't die.
It's Thor. Yeah.
He's the star of the film.
Yeah.
But he does.
But he does.
He gets smaller and smaller and smaller as he spins down and hits.
Yeah, it's basically like Wile E. Coyote. You see him go falling down. And I didn't expect that. I expected all of whoever's going to die. I expected it to be gruesome. And this was, I hate to say it, he was doing his hero thing. It was more of a like a cartoonish, like comedic death that kind of got me chuckling because I did not expect. Because like you said, it's Chris Hemsworth. He's the one you really know when it comes to the cast members. He's the hero, Marvel, all that stuff, action movies, and he literally just runs into a wall and falls to his doom.
Right. I mean, I kept trying to go, all right, what was going on in his career in 2011? Like, because the film is from 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so at this point, Dana realizes that they're being controlled by puppeteers,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that the stoner Marty had mentioned to her previously in the film.
Yes.
That when I guess when they were all in the basement with the antiquities,
Hmm.
he was saying, don't read it out loud. He said something about puppeteers, or he kept mentioning puppeteers, and they just brush him off because he's
He's high.
high.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So after Kurt hits the wall, literally,
Hmm.
more blood spills into the cauldron.
Yep.
And again, I'm wondering, this seems really quick. How are they getting the blood so fast, and where is it going? Like, that's just like that's really fast. Like, is it seeping through the ground? Like, I don't understand. All right, so now it's just Holden and Dana, and
Hmm.
the what we assume to be the last two people
Hmm.
surviving this, and Holden is just being super cool, which is what I love about him. He's just being super cool, super chill, and he's
Hmm.
just like, just relax, and I'm thinking as I'm watching this, I'm like, even if something bad happens, dying while relaxed, I think, is a much better way to die than if you're flipping out. Like,
Hmm.
I guess maybe it's better for your spirit or your reincarnation or
Hmm.
whatever it is that you believe in. And so him with his dazzling smile and his pretty eyes, he's like, yeah, just relax. Whack!
Yep. While he's
And
driving the right when he's because they're driving the RV back to the cabin, and what exactly happened? What's the whack for, Melissa? What happened?
it's the sickle that
Yep.
goes right through the back of his neck and through his throat, and he makes the face
Yep.
with his eyes bulging out, and you're just like, oh my God, he's dead! Just like that,
Yep.
so fast.
Yes.
I was really upset. All right, and
And
so
unlike Halloween from the Master John Carpenter, he did not go cross-eyed when he was killed. We just wanted
no,
to
he
throw
did
that in
not.
there.
I assumed his face would be realistic. You
Yeah.
know, if you get if you're and you're in the middle of going what the fuck,
Yeah.
and his thing comes out,
Hmm.
and yeah, it seemed realistic to me that would be the face he would have if he got
Hmm.
killed in that way. All right, so
Get your
holding gets
glasses. Ah,
holding
you're
holding gets
pitiful.
killed while driving, and then a swimming zombie goes after Dana, and which I was like, really?
There
This isn't.
is no. There are swimming zombies. There's quite a few movies with zombies where they go underwater. I'm not planning on making us watch the Italian movie Zombie because I didn't like it, but the zombie actually fights a shark in it, so it's air quotes plausible. Trust me, it's plausible.
Well, I've seen the swimming, well, waterlogged zombies from uh, Fear the Talking Dead.
Yeah.
Fear the Talking
Yeah.
Dead, but I always thought that they were just like, you know, in the water until like a live creature goes in front of them, and then they get activated, and then they start.
Yeah, it's trust me, there's a whole
But this
underwater zombie thing. So it's air quotes when it comes to horror, it's plausible. So
but
yeah,
this this dude was like,
yep. Well, you might be undead. You still got to get those muscles moving. Get your exercise.
right. So I was like, how does this zombie have the wherewithal to go, all right, I need to do the breaststroke
Mm-hmm.
underwater.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now this is my next note.
Okay.
Stop me if I cut too much off. I said Marty
Okay.
Teddy, stop. Marty returns after discovering an override switch, an elevator that. Oh, okay. I
Yep.
jumped way
You
ahead.
you you are wait. Okay. So what I have is the RV goes into the water, and everyone is happy. We're back to the office. Everyone is celebrating. Gary and Steve, they're popping champagne. Everyone's having a lot of fun, and they're explaining to somebody. They say that the Virgin can live as long as she suffers. So that is the rule. Not every single person has to die, and they're all celebrating, having fun. And then there is a phone call from upstairs that stops the party. and we hear the voice of who you texted me. You were really excited. I don't know if you knew that it was Sigourney Weaver at the time, but
I did.
she's
I realized the voice sounded familiar, but I no, I didn't really think it was Sigourney Weaver.
so we get yeah. It says Gary and Steve celebrate. Phone call from upstairs stops the party because
Hey, stop! Sorry.
no, you're fine. Because protocol wasn't followed, and that's when we see Marty is still alive because he saves Dana from the zombie that is attacking her.
Right. Right.
So that's where we are now.
Okay. All right. I don't know what I'm going to do with these barking dogs.
It's okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So this is where actually, okay, questions get answered, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
They sneak into a grave and they're actually in an elevator, and then as they're going down, because Marty's there, he's covered in blood. I don't have the picture. He's covered in blood. He's got like a baseball bat or something. And they're in an elevator, and then you see a dead zombie there, and Marty had to beat it to death. And he pushes a button, and they're beat it back into death or whatever. He didn't beat the zombie to death.
He beat it to pieces.
Beat it to pieces. There we go.
Okay.
And as they're going down, they literally stop in front of a werewolf. The door opens, and there's a werewolf right in front of them, but they're in these little cubes that they can't escape. And there are so many things that we see. Like, this is an homage to one of the Hellraiser demons that we might get into, thanks to Shelley, type of thing. And as you see, he is holding the little circle trinket or whatever that one of them could have messed with in the basement or of the cabin in the woods. So right. There's all these different creatures that we see, and we see a ghost. We see a little ballerina with instead of her having a cute ballerina face, it's nothing but like a wide open mouth of like shark teeth and stuff like that. So we get to see all these little, like hundreds and hundreds of different monsters. Excuse me. And that's what I mean about, like, this is one of those movies where you just want to pause and look and see what's here. We got the hillbilly family here. We got, a ghost here, a werewolf here. We have, once all the shit hits the fan, there's unicorns and giant snakes and stuff like that. So we get to see the inside of the building of what they could have dealt with.
Right. It was really interesting because they were like elevator, I don't know what you call them, elevator boxes.
Yeah, I just containment boxes or something. Yeah,
they can move this way and that way, or and switch whatever. Now, when she sees the Hellraiser guy, he was looking at her with a smile on his face, and I was like, "Oh, is he gonna help her?"
Yes, because this guy looks very, very friendly, doesn't he?
He does. He had nice color. He had nice blue eyes, and she was standing there, and his eyes were following her, and he kind of had a smile on his face. So I was like, an enemy of my
enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get it.
I get it.
Both have the same enemy, so therefore they're friends. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what I thought was going to happen. And then I kind of thought that was the end of the movie when it zooms out, pulls out, and you see all the different boxes. And I was like, oh, shit, now they're stuck for eternity inside one of these boxes. But they're not evil. What's going to happen when their turn comes up? Like, that's kind of what I thought.
That would have been a cool place to stop, because they do hang on that for a couple seconds before the elevator doors open and they get out. So it is like one of those false endings, I think. And then that's when we hear the woman's voice again. We hear Sigourney Weaver explain what's going on. And that's when shit really hits the fan.
This was my favorite part of the movie.
This is when they go into one of the rooms and they hit there's always a big red button that you're not supposed to push, and they hit it, and it purges all the doors. Everything opens up. You see giant snakes. You have giant bugs, you have zombies, serial killers. Uh, there's an evil clown in there. You know what I
Right.
mean? Your Hellraiser buddy. You know, he's out there doing stuff. And then we get to see, and I picked this because I know you were into ballet. We get to see the ballerina do her thing for a little bit. That was creepy. She
Uh,
obviously enjoys it, and this is where everybody is just dying. Um,
it was this was. I mean, first my favorite part was that it was total silence, and then it's like ding, and then
yep.
all the doors open, and they were in a room kind of like when I've gone to visit people in jail before, and so
Hmm.
like when you go through it, the security after they check you out, and then
Yeah.
you have to like you pass like a big cubicle. You can't see who's in, but they can
Correct.
see you.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt like they were kind of like in the correctional officers
Hmm.
enclosure to protect them from all the prisoners. So being that I guess all these monsters were prisoners. Now, of course, I'm thinking, well, how the hell did they catch all these monsters and put them in these cubicles? Like,
Yeah.
and but yeah, when they all come out, and my favorite part was when there's something up in the air, like when you're looking at the screen, it's on the
Hmm.
left side of the screen up in the air, and it's just spinning around like this, and it's got somebody's body in
Yep.
its mouth, and it's just spinning and spinning and spinning. That to me was hysterical. That was
Yeah.
funny.
It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. I mean, and then even Steve, Bradley Whitford, he's got semi-automatic weapons trying to take him out and stuff like that. And then he doesn't make it, but this was fun. He finally got to see his merman. He got
and
to see his merman.
then he says, "Oh, come on."
Yeah. As it eats his face, and it again that was a fun touch. I think
Right.
just to add to the fun of this movie.
And that was not what I expected a merman to look like.
I'm not gonna. I was expecting, Little Mermaid type of thing. You got the, the
Yeah.
the hulking blonde dude with, I was expecting Chris Hemsworth with
With
feet
with a tail.
with a tail. Yeah, fish
Yeah,
tail. That's what I was expecting.
holding, yeah,
Holding a
holding like,
trident and a trident,
yeah,
he'd like stab him. But no, we get
yeah.
we get me after a 3-day bender, and he just eats his face, and it's fun. And then Gary, the
Oh
other
wait, and the flies out of his blowhole.
yes, that's true. He's got a. It's true. I forgot about that. And again, it's just so much fun, and with all this chaos and brutality. And then while that's happening, Gary is running down. Gary's the other office member we've been following. He is accidentally killed by Dana. She accidentally stabs him. Like she regretted it, but again, she doesn't even know who he is. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that's how he is taken out. And then I don't know what your next note is after Merman and Gary are taken out. This is where we actually get to see Sigourney Weaver
My
on
next
stage.
note, my next note was unicorns are supposed to be magical beauty, not killers. Because you see a unicorn use his
Horn.
horn
Yeah.
to kill someone. I'm like,
Yeah. Well,
no.
I guess it's interesting because my daughter was watching it because she's now getting into horror, and
Mm-hmm.
she knows a lot about mythical beings. She says in like kind of like the old fables, like Hansel and Gretel's really violent, all this, Snow White is really violent. She says in ancient mythology unicorns are not nice animals. They are very
Ah.
territorial, to very see, it's kind of like rural, very territorial. And so it was but it was kind of cool seeing something pretty like that just take somebody out, and it was totally unexpected.
Yeah.
So, and this
Um,
is where Sigourney Weaver shows up and explains everything. That
well, this is where, so I had watched the movie last week
mm-hmm,
before we were originally scheduled to
mm-hmm,
do this podcast. And when I got to this point of the film is when you texted me to say you weren't feeling well and can we
mm-hmm,
postpone. So I was like, okay, so I figured, so I stopped watching the movie thinking, well, I'll watch the rest of it today.
mm-hmm,
But I couldn't wait, and so I started watching the movie, but I stopped taking notes because again I thought I'll just take the notes when I watch the movie again today.
mm-hmm.
But I didn't watch it again today because I didn't want to go through that whole thing all over again. so, so my last note was Sigourney Weaver
Yep.
question mark exclamation mark. That's my final note.
Okay. So, well, this is where Sigourney shows up, and I I'm trying to I'll try to explain as much as I can. There are these ancient beings that have to be appeased through sacrifice. I don't know how many years, type of thing, but there is a ritual that has to be done, and it requires the sacrifice of a whore, a scholar, a fool, an athlete, and a virgin. And the only thing is, the whore has to die first, and I think they said the fool has to die last. The virgin does not have to die; she just has to go through severe pain. And this was kind of fun because it kind of Dana made a mark earlier when she was making out with Holden. Like she hasn't gone all the way, but she's done enough stuff. And then she even looked at Sigourney Weaver and she says virgin, and then Sigourney says we take what we can get, type of thing. So they explain that, and basically they only have like, what is it? They only have like 8 minutes. And Sigourney says the world will end. You are our last hope. You can kill Marty and everything will be fine. So Dana actually pulls a gun on Marty and she's going to take him out, it looks like. And that's when a werewolf literally shows up and attacks Dana.
Right, because she points a gun at him and she's like, "I'm so sorry," and then he says, "So am I."
Yeah.
And you see the yeah, so yeah, the wolf pretty much, you know,
It's chewing
take
on her. And
yeah, take
then
it's this far from killing her.
and then I don't know who I because it's been a week. I don't know who's struggling with Sigourney Weaver. I don't know if it's Dana or if it's Marty, but something's going, time's running out on the clock. And then out of nowhere, Sigourney Weaver gets an axe to the head by the one-armed Ingalls girl. Laura Ingalls Wilder shows up at the end and axes Sigourney Weaver in the head and
That's
stops
right.
it. And then that's where there is no time left.
Right. So
Marty
she
is,
she falls down into the pit, right?
yep, she falls into
Under.
the pit, and then there's basically no time left. So Marty and Dana sit down. They apologize to each other. They share a joint. And that is when the gigantic hand of one of the old gods comes out of the ground and literally slams onto the cabin in the woods. And
And
that's it. We just
that's it.
assume that the world is over. We're screwed. We couldn't get it done.
Right. And they both say though before they die that they wish they would have had the chance to meet these gods.
Yeah. So that's it. Overall,
Yeah.
well, first off, what did you think of the ending? It was a fun final sequence, but what did you think of the fact that we all die basically? We don't get to live. The old gods have destroyed us. Were you pissed at this downer ending? Were you having too much fun and that you didn't care? Did you kind of like it? What do you think of how it ended?
Um, I kind of liked the way it ended because
Okay,
not every movie has a happy ending.
that's true.
So, I and so it made me realize it's like because personally speaking in my real life,
Mm-hmm.
like I used to get a lot of anxiety about growing older and
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen when I die, who's going to find me because I'm not married, I don't have kids, and so watching this kind of made me realize, I'm never truly alone. I have my dogs, and if
Mm-hmm.
we all die together, it'll be okay. So I was okay with the way it ended. I mean, it was a little hokey, I thought,
Yeah.
that like all of a sudden this giant hand comes out of the ground and smushes the cabin. I was like, really?
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say again, thanks to Barb for the support and what she's done for the show with the reviews and everything, and because of her, we got to watch a very good movie. I already told you my favorite scene. My favorite scene was when everybody in the office is placing bets, and maintenance wins because it was zombie redneck torture family, and Bradley Whitford was pissed that he didn't get to see a mermaid. yet. And my rating is going to be, I love this movie. It's so much fun, even with the hokey ending. I love that it was kind of a downer ending. As a horror fan, I loved all the tropes, and I loved how these were people we cared about. These weren't just, okay, when's this guy gonna die? When's this guy gonna die? You actually wanted these people to survive, like what you said with with Holden. You wanted him to get away. You know what I mean? You really
Yeah.
liked him. I'm gonna give this 5 shark tooth faced ballerinas out of 5.
So, okay. Here we go. So, my favorite scene was the zombie arm in the elevator. Like, I can't remember, so when Marty comes back and basically you see, uh, he had chopped up, he didn't chop up the zombie to death, he chopped it up to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So, as they leave the elevator, I think, like, you just see the
The hand, yeah, the hand is crawling like right to go back
yeah,
to the body. Yeah.
right. That made me laugh and also, reminded me of the Addams family. So that scene and what I had already mentioned with when all the monsters came through and there was the Pegasus or whatever it was, some flying creature that was up in the corner spinning around, and its victim was, like,
Yeah.
anyway, that was my favorite scene. I give it, let's see, what was the thing that I gave it? Let's see. Um, 5.
Wow.
I'm gonna say 5 of whatever monster that was. It was flying around.
5 spinning monsters out of 5.
Yeah, 5 spinning monsters out of 5.
Wow.
So,
That's
uh,
good. I want to throw this. John says, personally, I laughed out loud at the ending because how else could you really end this movie?
yeah,
He's got a good point. Like, they
that's
pretty
true.
much what else could they do? Um, so that's Cabin in the Woods. Thank you again, Barb. Thank you for everybody who showed up in the chat. We really appreciate it. Barb, John, Patrick was here. Ginger Ninja, Anthony was here. Everybody that showed up for the stream, we really appreciate it. What do I say? Please like the Facebook page. You can follow the Instagram page. Like we always say, we show favoritism if you share us out. If you're in the chat on a regular basis, we will push one of your requests to the front of the line, like we did today, or like the next episode, if you're a good friend of one of ours. For it's going to be around St. Patrick's Day, and someone who I've come to know and at least enjoy his taste in movies lately. Our next episode, thanks to your wonderful friend Shelley, we are celebrating St. Patrick's Day with the Jennifer Aniston classic. You didn't even know she was in it, I don't
I
think,
did
until I
not.
mentioned it.
Uh-huh.
The original Leprechaun from 1993. Oh boy.
1993.
It's,
Wow.
well,
Okay.
let's just say here, I don't know how you'll take it, Melissa. You really, really enjoyed something like this. You didn't like something like Winnie the Pooh, but you know what? You fucking loved Troll 2. So, but I will say this: there is no corn cob sex in Leprechaun. So I don't know if it'll get that 4.5 from you, but we'll see.
Well, it depends on how realistic it is.
Oh well,
So, I don't know. Like, I think my expectations or my scale changes with each movie because I've just like, you know, I it, I think our show should be like, wait, what?
yeah,
Instead of watch what now, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
in the same kind of feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all my notes are usually, wait, what just happened? Okay, whatever. I want to say, oh, is it low again? Tell
Yeah.
me sooner so I can fix
uh,
it.
thank you.
um,
Oh, Melissa's audio is very low. It sounded fine for me. Maybe it's because I'm listening in headphones.
Okay, yeah. Well, it must be these headphones because if we don't, yeah. So we rely on the feedback from you guys. So thank you for letting me know that
There
my
we go. Now
audio.
it's
Yeah. So I'll have to remember to talk like this with the microphone up to my mouth. Um. Okay. And but I also want to give a shout out to you, Eric, that your visuals are like awesome. You
Well,
know,
thank you.
you're bringing professionalism to our show. All we need now is a theme
The theme
song.
song. Yeah. Hey,
If anyone out there wants to make us a theme song, like your choice will go straight to the top.
there you go. She says it. You don't just have to give us good reviews. Like I said, just help the show. We appreciate it. Yeah, it's just fun. Like I'm still learning how to do things on StreamYard. I figure it's a lot more fun. So people in the chat and you and I can actually see what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah,
So
so I love it a lot. Yeah,
yeah,
so good job, Eric. You're doing a wonderful job managing this show and all the other ones that you do.
it keeps me out of trouble, or mostly out of trouble. So with that, I want to thank Melissa for being here. Again, thank you for understanding the late hey, can we reschedule type of thing. I got a lot of stuff going on. Thanks to everybody in the chat and all the support. And as we always end the show, what do you always say concerning our furry friends, Melissa?
Adopt, don't shop. If you're looking for a pet, or even if you're not looking for a pet, please consider adopting from a shelter, because a lot of these animals that are in shelters, they get killed just to
Mm-hmm.
make space for, I should say, healthy animals that are already ready to be a pet to
Mm-hmm.
a loving family or individual or whatever, just need a home. And so adopt, don't shop. And also yeah, adopt, don't shop. That's it. That's my ending thing.
All right. Well, with that ending thing, I'm Eric. That's Melissa, and we'll
I'm
see you.
Melissa.
We'll see
Yeah.
you soon
Well,
for Leprechaun.
and if any of you live in the Chicago area,
Oh
I'll
yes,
actually
go ahead. We'll start promoting that. It's getting close. Go ahead.
if any of you live in the Chicago area, I will be in Chicago signing, well, hopefully signing autographs and meeting people and selling photos and stuff, taking selfies. I will be at the Exotica Chicago convention, my first convention in like 30 years. So I'm pretty
Yeah,
excited about it.
yeah.
And uh, yeah, so it's March 10, 11, and 12 in Chicago, I think at the convention center. So come by and say hello. I'd love to meet all the people behind the names here.
That's right. Show up. And you know what? I totally forgot about that. We'll definitely promote it in the beginning of the next episode as well, because we still have a few weeks. We'll at least get one more
Okay,
episode in before we get you out to Chicago and seeing everybody. So
right.
that'll be a lot of fun. Good for you for deciding to do it too.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks. But more
Yep.
importantly, save the animals.
Yes.
Adopt, don't shop. All
Stop,
right.
don't shop. And we'll see you soon.
Bye,
Thank
everyone. Thank
for
you.
for Leprechaun. Thanks, Shelly. Yeah.